What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good? UCB Uncommon Bond Podcast in the building. It's a smooth Friday. We just chilling. All right? It's Cinco De Mayo. It's the month of May. We made it, y'all. We almost halfway through the year. We getting around out here. But on a more serious note, first off, shout out to Gifted Gab, the creator of this slogan, this hat, KID. What does that mean? We out here, man. We kings in demand. Kings in demand. We are kings. We are out here. God is dope, whether it's the one you worship or the God within, but we are all, you know what I'm saying, in our inner sanctum, believing of higher things for ourselves, better things for ourselves, right? But let's chat. So the topic of the week is dating the bus driver. And I know y'all sick of hearing it. Because I'm sick of hearing it. The conversation was between Ebony K. Williams and Ayana Van Zandt, and they were talking, and they were talking with one another, and then the question was raised, would you date a bus driver? And to which she replied that she would date the bus owner, you know what I mean, but not the driver. Okay, big deal. Ayana counters with, I would date him if, he's good to me. He has a great relationship with his mother, XYZ. And we'll get into all that, right? But we missed the mark. I'll tell you where we missed the mark. Because then after she says what she says, meaning Ms. Williams, she then doubles down, comes back, goes back on the Breakfast Club, has more conversation, starts talking about how it's really in reference to the Black community and settling. And I get it. I get it. Because the message is true on some level. How many of us, myself included, have looked at our life or been in a certain place in our life and been like, I should be doing more, or I should have more, or I should aspire to do more. And we may have caught a lull where we stopped. We just kind of we get that middle ground, or we got comfortable. And sometimes you got to kick your own ass. Other times you may meet somebody, whether it's a friend, a lover, a potential spouse, a child, like something or someone around you inspires you, or yourself inspires you to be better, to be greater, to go farther, right? And that's fine. Um, Here's where we missed the mark. The argument is not about positions and titles and money earned. It's about people. Follow me, right? We're going to use the term mediocre very loosely tonight in our brief conversation. Oh, I know you see me in the cup, a little French connection. What's a French connection? Cognac and amaretto, that's so. So we got the Diamor, you know what I mean, amaretto, but you could go with the Di Serrano or whatever your flavor is. And with the cognac, we got Patou. You heard? You could holler at the local liquor store and get that Patou. You know what I mean? I can't really mess with Henny no more, man. So I mess with that Patou. Shout out to MC a few years ago, man. He put me on. I was like, yo, this is a dope drink. Shout out to King Picasso. Shout out to R&B Reem. Shout out to G Gorgeous, the whole fam. But back to what we was talking about. There's no argument here, right? So first of all, let's have the discussion. Everybody gets in their feelings, right? Because the word mediocre triggers people. And it should. We've all been raised or learned in our world view that mediocre means subpar or just average, or but nothing superior. So yes, we should aspire to do better. But because the young woman says that's a mediocre job, people, I believe, have taken it as she trying to say a bus driver is a mediocre. This bus driver is a mediocre person, an average person. We got lost in translation. Or when she started talking about people bringing home C's and D's. Listen, a lot of people brought home C's and D's back in the day. And a lot of the times, not all the time, but sometimes, the people that brought home the C's and D's were not being challenged. So they coasted. They weren't being pushed. What did we say earlier? What did I talk about earlier? Right? They weren't inspired. So they did just enough to get by and they got out of school. But those people then went on to do great things, whether it was in a college classroom or real life or business ownership, entrepreneurship, XYZ. There's so many different things that people can dabble in, especially now with the content creators and things of that nature. There's so many lanes. But I say all that to say, mediocre as a triggering word allows us to misconstrue the message that as a people, yeah, we could do better and we should do better and we should aspire to be more. But also, who are we as people? Are we measuring people by what they do or how they do it and what kind of person they are, right? Because the fact of the matter is, we need extraordinary people. We need excellent people. We don't need mediocre people. When I say that, I mean as a person. How are you treating yourself? How are you treating those around you? Your children? All of these, there's so many different categories, but we get stuck on mediocre or broke or scrub or whatever the lingo is, for somebody that is substandard, what I mean? What kind of person are you? And when I say that, I don't say that to mean throw the money out the way because we need money to survive. Like, you know what I mean? It's not something that we can say, oh, forget it. But we need an extraordinary person to do quote unquote mediocre jobs because it creates an excellent experience as a member of society. How many times you ran for a bus? You know the bus driver sees you. He keeps going. But every once in a while, there's that bus driver that slows down because he knows you need that bus to get to work. You need that bus to get your kid. You need that bus. And he sees you in the rear view. And that extraordinary person doing that mediocre job does the extraordinary thing and slows down and stops so that you can get on the bus. Because that's an extraordinary person. We need more people like that go above and beyond what they're paid to do, right? And we need them in certain positions where perhaps their excellence isn't glorified through their salary. Perfect case in point, that bus driver that gets out of his seat and makes sure that that wheelchair occupant is strapped in properly and doesn't just carelessly drive off hoping that it's been done properly, but making sure every latch is buckled, every belt is fastened before he pulls that bus off, no matter how many people are pissed off that this handicapped person got on the bus and sat there, right? That's extraordinary. The extraordinary Uber driver, cab driver, educator that cares about the children on a level where they go in their pockets to make their birthday special, right? Or to have a pizza party, or they put mints in their car, uh, ask you what type of music you want to listen to, ask you how's your day going. We're missing the piece about extraordinary people doing extraordinary things to make the mundane average day superior just through our interaction with each other, through our experience with one another. That's where we're missing the boat. That's the conversation we need to have. To Ms. Van Zan's point, she said, well, what if that bus driver is happy driving the bus? That happy man makes your day better because when you get on that bus, after a while, there's a rapport, right? How many of us know it? Even at the corner store, the bus driver, whatever. Hey, how's your day? How's your daughter doing? How's your son doing? Or they might say, hey, little man, what's up? Give him a high five. He don't got to do that. She don't got to do that. You could just drive that bus. You don't have to interact with nobody. You don't have to cultivate any type of relationships with none of the patrons. You could just drive the bus. But is that enough? In this world today, we have bus drivers that are scared to even say anything when people are literally getting on the bus, walking right past them, not paying a fare, and not even saying anything. It's just like, yo, I wish you would. You know what I'm saying? And will be upset if the bus driver is like, where you going? Why don't you pay? And curse them out. So now people are fearing for their lives in these jobs, these mundane, ordinary, average jobs. These what do we say the word was? I forget, but in any event, you need these people, right? There are certain people that I met in my life as a youth coming up that if they weren't extraordinary people, I don't know where I would be. Whether it was a Mr. Burtz, who was a counselor that went above and beyond, whether it was a Coach Rick, who was a football coach that went above and beyond, whoever these adults were that took the extra time to do something that I know they weren't being paid for, but they enhanced my life, taught me a lesson. And then later on, when you get older, it's like, man, you think about it and it's like, nobody's paying this individual to be at my house at 7 o'clock or to call my mother at 8:30 or to check in on me. These people aren't getting paid to do this, but you don't know that. As a youngster, you thinking, yo, man, he's sweating me like this for what, man? Like, man. But no, they care. They care. We need extraordinary people in this world for greatness to happen. Perfect example. As an educator working in New York City, there is no true dress code, right? I coached football for almost 20 years in the city and been an educator for over 20 years in the city. I've interacted with high risk youth, um, those who have emotional disabilities and things of that nature. And they don't come from perfect homes. They need to see someone that looks like them that comes into the building, their belt on their waist, looking presentable, neat, right? It's important. I've had football players that have now went on to become successful people, have children. I went to some of their weddings. There are relationships there that have nothing to do with my title, my money, my paycheck, nothing. It's just something that I felt was paying it forward. When I say this, I'm not saying, look at me, hey, look at me. I'm saying I was that kid that was looking for somebody to reach back and say, yo, come here, man, or to show me the way. I saw, like I mentioned before, this man, Mr. Burtz, who I saw as a kid growing up, who used to always bust my chops and take my hats when I was in the building and tell me to pull my pants up and just, but he always looked the part. He always was dressed to the nines and he always had a pleated shirt. And I saw him recently at a friend's father's funeral, and he looked the same, like nothing changed. That's real. Like he's the same person, still dressed properly, pants on his waist, looking like he, is about something. And that's the same experience that I take and pass on to the youth that I interact with. It's important that we think about this conversation and we don't miss the boat where we start arguing about who we dating and what that person is making when we should be asking, what kind of person are we? Like, what kind of person is the person? Meaning not throwing away the part of money, because there's a million other conversations we can have, right? We can have the conversation of, if you want the bus driver to be the bus owner, but he's treating you well and everything's going good, who's to say that y'all don't sit down at the table and you as his queen and him as your king sit down and make a plan as to how do we own the company? How can we do that? How long do we need to save together to get this plan going? Because maybe he never had a reason to go the extra mile or to get to the next tier. But now here you are, this beautiful woman telling him, yo, I believe in you. I got you. Like, what do we need to do? We, key word, what do we need to do to get this done? Now, I could easily try to assassinate her character, right? And talk about the things that I've seen or heard about her. But this is not about her. This is about us looking in the mirror and saying, are we doing enough? Could we be doing better? And if we're not, why aren't we? Right? Don't be afraid to look at yourself and say, you know what? I could do more. I know I do. Sometimes I look at myself and say, yo, man, I could do a little bit more. You know, I've always spoke about being a father. And as a father, I feel like I've done well, but I could do better. So all you could do is keep trying. One of the things that I'm very proud about is as I coach these young men, these teenagers, and then they become men, they come back and they say, Coach, I remember your daughter in the stroller at practice. That little girl is now 21, but they saw that. Now, is that being an extraordinary father or being an extraordinary role model or being an extraordinary coach? Because depending on how you look at it, you could say, well, as a father, you should have had that girl at the park. Or you could say, well, as a father, you should have just had that girl at the babysitter while you were working with the football players because their time was important and you needed to be focused. Meaning as a coach, right? So you have the father aspect, you have the coach aspect, and then you have just the real world aspect. And the real world aspect is at the time I did not know. I was definitely ignorant to the fact that these young men were watching me. These young men saw me struggling to make sure I got to practice on time, brought my child out the car, got her stroller, strapped her in, made sure she had some juice, snacks, fruit, and then put her over to the side and made their time important while still having my child on the sideline. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I just got to get to work because we need to get this work in on the field. But I have a responsibility, which is my child, and she's just coming with me wherever I go, right? But years later, these same young men ask me, "Hey, yo, how's your daughter?" Whatever. And I don't want to put people on the spot, but I just want to. There's eons. There's so many of them, and I wish I could name them all. So I'm not gonna name any of them. I'm gonna just say they know who they are. But these people are principals, assistant principals, doctors, professional athletes, teachers, counselors, like they're firemen, policemen. Like I've been blessed with meeting so many great young people that have become even greater adults than even I am at this time. And I'm so very proud to interact with them. College football coaches now that I coached. Like there's so many people have in, that have enlightened my life, and they didn't know it because they were kids, but they brought joy to me. And then later on, they tell me, Coach, you did this, you did that for me, and I'm thankful. And I'm sitting there like, yo, you don't even understand. I'm thankful. But that's the interaction, right? That's how we become better people, not mediocre people. Because when you have mediocre or under average people doing mediocre jobs, the world is not a better place. The teacher that really is just teaching for a salary is not giving that child everything that child needs. The mediocre bus driver is not giving the patrons what they need. The mediocre construction worker, the mediocre cop, the mediocre fireman. If you're mediocre as a person, that is what makes your job mediocre because you're not invested. You're just doing it. for a salary. That's where we're missing the point. Be an extraordinary person while doing your mundane, average activities, because that's what makes this world a better place, not your salary. And we all know the bottom line is the bottom line. We need it, right? We need money to survive. I get it. So that's why I go back to my regular point. Date who you want to date, marry who you want to marry. Even the argument when we were a few weeks back on social media about 50-50 or not 50-50, this is how you date. You meet somebody, you say, hey, what do you think about going 50-50? If that person, nah, that's not really my style, cool. It's all right. Nice meeting you, ma. Take it easy. Nice meeting you, sir. Take it easy. We going, and that's it. Social media, podcasts have given a voice to people who maybe should be voiceless, if I could say that responsibly and respectfully, because as a society, the masses are sheep who subscribe to all type of bullshit coming out of these people's mouths. At no point have I got any type of psychiatry degree, social sociology degree, or anything to advise. This forum is to have a conversation for us to explore different possibilities. For me to say something that you may say, I didn't think about it that way. Or for you to make a comment in the box and then I say, oh, okay. And we share dialogue. It's a think tank. It's not supposed to be, now I'm going to tell you what a high value man is. And I'm going to tell you, girl, you don't deserve that. It's not my role. That's not any podcaster's role, unless you have the degrees and the PhDs behind you to say that you're a professional in said field. Have the conversation without the judgment. We rush to judgment too quick. She was irresponsible, not with what she was saying, but with how she said it. Because there's a lot of people out here doing extraordinary things with mediocre titles. You need people, right? For instance, and I only go back to the school system because that's what I know. You need an extraordinary custodian. You need an extraordinary lunch cafeteria worker. You need an extraordinary TA, teacher's aide. You need extraordinary deans. You need extraordinary paras. You need extraordinary counselors. You need extraordinary psychiatrists, social workers, principals, assistant principals. You need extraordinary people to do these things for a school to function in a loving community where those children get the most out of the experience, where those families get the most out of that experience. And that's where we missed the boat, because there are people that do certain jobs just for the money. And when you do it just for the money, you miss the mark because you don't care. So perhaps you shouldn't have that job because you don't really do it to the best of your ability. You do just enough to get the check. And some of those people had A's and B's. They ain't even have C's and D's. But they out here doing average work. You know why? Now it's switched. I'm just about my paper. And I don't gotta push myself. And I don't really care, but I gotta do something. And this is the thing that fell in my lap, so I'm gonna do it. You know? So that's one conversation. She spoke on the Breakfast Club. She got into little small arguments with DJ Envy, Charlemagne, like just no this, no that, no this. And like I said, the conversation got misconstrued. We should have focused it, and we didn't. And we kind of lost our way, but it was something to talk about. So Ayanna Van Zandt, after the fact, comes back, has another video out without Ms. Williams, just talking, saying, bus drivers, we love you, you know, train conductors, garbage men, you know what I mean? We love you, we love you, we love you, da, da, da. And I get all that. Salute to the queen. You know what I'm saying? I love her. Um, because imagine if this mediocre garbage crew stopped picking up trash for a month. That smell wouldn't be mediocre, would it? Nope. But we're not gonna talk about that. But there was something that she said that I want to hop on. She said, as long as that man treats me good, as long as that man is happy doing what he does, and as long as that man treats his mother good, what's missing? Do children have fathers? And I'm not coming at her, but what I'm saying is, how we having this conversation and we're not talking about what's his relationship like with his parents, not what his relationship is with his mother. Does he have a father in his life? You know how important that is to a young man as to how he's going to treat a young lady if he saw his father loving up on his mother, treating his mother like a queen, cooking in the house. So now he knows how to cook. Yeah, the relationship between a son and his mother is important. That is without a doubt to be not said. But so is the relationship with the father. It's so quick. It's so easy to just, in a way where I know she didn't mean to, hopefully, cast aside that, you know, this child came into the world a product of two people, not just one, and that we need to know the relationship between that man and his father and his mother, not just his mother. But for the sake of conversation, for the sake of society as a whole, we can't forget that we need fathers too, right? It's important. As I said, I have my daughter with me everywhere. Um, and it's because I thought fatherhood was a badge of honor for me. I never had any title that meant more to me than father in my life, whether it was player, coach, dean, para, teacher, whatever. No title in this world, lawyer, doctor, in this world meant more to me than father. It's important. Now, not every man feels that way, and that's sad. And there are mothers the same way, that's sad too. But when we have these dialogues and when we have these microphones in front of us and when we have these conversations, it is important to not miss an opportunity to talk about the whole picture. The whole picture is, I need you to be better. If you're in a position where you're happy and you're good, that's great. But if you can do better, go ahead and do that. Yeah, you have a mom. I hope you treat her well. I hope everything is good. I hope you respect her. Where's your dad? How's that relationship? Is that okay? Is that going well? What kind of example did you see as a young man as to how to be a man? Who was it? Was it your neighbor upstairs, your uncle, OGs on the corner, or was your father in your house? Because that says a lot. And that's what we skip sometimes. Can't forget that. That's important. As a society, as a society, we need, ooh, what's in this? It's got me slurring, bro. We have to remember as a society that we we're losing our way on many different levels. We don't have conversations anymore like we should. We're texting too much. We're scrolling too much. We're not meeting people like we should. Um, we are not gauging people on a whole scale like we should. We are missing the boat where we are like forgetting that for every raindrop, for every cloudy day, the sun does come. We are missing the fact that we all gonna have problems in life, that we're all gonna struggle, and sometimes at our lowest moments we might meet the person that's gonna help change our life. We are forgetting that at times when we are down on ourselves, we really need to be thankful for the life that we have, that we are living, because we don't even have to be here, right? Every day we wake up and we're alive, right? Take care of our health, take care of our wealth, take care of our women. Women, take care of your men. Love our babies because they're gonna love us back. And those are the things that we need to pay attention to. And I do believe that if you live your life a certain way, you live your life according to some type of moral code, eventually everything else falls into place, right? So I want to say to you, as a young lady, if you are struggling, if you don't know what to do next, one, never um, take your life. You're important. No matter if you're in a shelter, a one-bedroom apartment, a studio, a three-bedroom apartment, it doesn't matter because everybody's struggle is not attached to where you live or how much money's in your bank account, but you are important. Young women, young men, if you are struggling, if you don't have a car, if you don't have a place to lay your head right now, if you are in a shelter, if you haven't seen your child in a long time, but you fighting and you scratching and you want to see your baby, keep fighting. You are important. Everybody in this world has a position to play. If you play your position right, everything will work out. Trust in a higher power that at some point, even if it's going left, at some point it's going to go right. Be a superstar at being mediocre. Because if we don't have superstars doing mediocre things, then mediocre things become below average. It's necessary. Trust when I tell you. I don't know who sung the song. I don't, well, not off top, but it was, I think it's called People Make the World Go Round. And literally it's just talking about trash man didn't get the trash today. And y'all know the rest. If not, Google it. But everybody is important and there's someone for everybody. So whether you're single and looking or waiting, it's gonna happen. If you are a person that wants to have a child and it's not happened yet, it's gonna happen. If you're a person that just is trying to figure out their way, a young person that just doesn't know what profession is for them, stick to it. Like stick to the search. Don't just stop. Stick to it. But everybody, be safe, be well, drink up. If that's your pleasure, stay healthy. Go to the doctor. Go to the dentist. Make sure your skin is smooth. Yeah. And, all the rest. One love. UCB. Bottom Shelf Steph, King Picasso, MC, R&B Reem, Gift the Gab. Did I say MC? I think I said MC. Yo, just wanted to get this off my chest. Whatever. Like, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Of course, we're going to be back with the usual cast of characters. We got so much more to talk about, but I just wanted to get that off my chest today because we over exasperated that conversation about dating bus drivers when the real reality is we don't need to be worried about dating bus drivers. We need to be worrying about how are we going to help our babies? How are we going to help our community? How are we going to be better people, extraordinary people, so that the life that we live is not regular and ordinary. It is above average. Keep smiling, keep shining. Peace.